Now, if you need to pack your bike into a box for travel, but have no idea where to start, then fear not, because this is the video for you. And the best thing is, you don't need any fancy tools to do this. You can use a few Allen keys and a few other little wrenches, and that's it. I'm actually going to be using this little multi-tool contraption that I got from my local bike shop. If you can get hold of something similar, I really recommend it. The only other things you're going to need, I recommend a few of these big fat sponges. This will make sense later, I promise. And then of course you're going to need your bike box. I do suggest getting that as early as possible. Your local bike shop should be able to provide them for you, but you never know. And then also just some extra padding in here, so any of the leftover card from the box and some bubble wrap, which again, I'm going to show you how I use later. Now I prefer to start with the toughest one first, in my opinion. Build up a bit of a sweat early doors, and then the rest of it feels quite easy. Now I am of course talking about the pedals. So the first thing you need to do is find the right tool for the job. So what I have here is this 8mm little key here, and when you remove the top, it becomes a 6mm, and that is the one that we're going to use to remove the pedals. So you're going to want to put the key into the pedal hole there, and then this is where it's going to cause perhaps a little bit of stress or trauma, depending on how tightly screwed on your pedals are. So you want to get that and you want to push it downwards, okay? You want to really give it some, and if it feels like it's going nowhere, don't worry. You just need to give it as much elbow grease as you've possibly got. That's the sound you want to hear. Whew, look at that. All right, then the easy part, just unscrew. Job done. But it's much easier from now on. So next we're going to move on to the handlebars. So this is going to be a super quick one. It's going to be 4 screws. To unscrew, you let the handlebars drop and then you put the screws back in to prevent yourself from losing them. Again, you just want to find which wrench works for you. In my case, it's a 4mm Allen wrench. Could be different on your bike. Right, so I've got all my screws out of here, so we just want to take this front bit off. I'm going to let the handlebars drop. And then you're just going to put this back on with the screws, just to make sure that nothing gets lost in transit. Next up, front wheel. Now this one is incredibly simple. You just take this latch, flip it open, loosen it up. Take out the axle, make sure you take out everything off the other side as well. Then it should just slide out. Now you're going to want to put this wheel axle back through the tire, if anything, just for ease when you get to the other side. Doesn't need to be too tight. Now, if you're flying with your bike, the chances are you're going to have to deflate your tires as well because of the cabin pressure. So let's just go ahead and do that. And do the same for the back tire as well. Now, if you have disc brakes, you're going to really want to pay attention to this next bit because it's so important. So now we've removed the wheel, you'll see that between the two brake pads, now there's no disc, there's just a big space. And if you were to press down on the brakes, those would likely jam together. But there is a really simple solution. Get one of these things from your local bike shop. You may have already had one come with your bike, or you can just use a piece of cardboard. And all you want to do is slot that in there. It's just a brake spacer. And it's just going to make sure that if the brakes get pushed in transit, they don't stick together. Almost there for the dismantling. We've just got one more thing to do. Now, this depends entirely on the size of your box and your own preferences. You might be able to just get away with lowering the seat as far as you possibly can, or you might want to take it off. Again, it comes down to your own preference or the size of your box. But I'm going to take it off fully, just for the sake of this video. I'm going to take another one of these wrenches. We're looking at a 5mm wrench this time. And super straightforward. There we go. The seat should just come out like that. There we go. I'm going to put the screw back in again, just to prevent losing it. Supervisor sleeping on the job. I'll be Mr. FOMO. Remember I told you about those sponges? This is where they're going to come in handy. So you're going to take the first of your sponges and you're going to want to place it at the bottom of the box. Then you're going to bring what remains of your bike frame. You're just going to put it in the box. And you're going to make sure that these front forks land nicely onto the sponge. So if you can see there, the front forks are sitting nicely in the middle of the big sponge, which just gives a bit of extra padding to make sure that the forks don't pierce the box at any point during transit. Then you're going to grab that second sponge and you're going to wedge that just between the derailleur and the box wall. Again, just overcautious there, really. Now, I'm quite lucky that the box I got from the bike shop also came with some leftover cardboardy bits. You can use bubble wrap for this, or you can just throw it straight in there. So I'm going to throw this front tire in the box down by the side of the frame. Like I say, you might want to add some padding to it, but I know people who choose just to throw it in there with nothing. So just slot that in there. Want to make it nice and compact so that nothing has the opportunity to move about too much. Yep, that works. Next up, the seat. Again, I just prefer to slot that in wherever possible. That'll do. Now the pedals, just going to throw these into the panniers. And what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to try and squeeze them in any which way possible into the box. Same goes for helmet, other accessories, etc. Just throw them all in there. Often costs a lot to travel with a bike, so you want to get your money's worth and make sure you're actually transporting as much as possible. It's like a very carefully curated game of Jenga at times. Squeeze that down there. And then, just to be super safe, I'm going to fill the remaining spaces in the box with this bubble wrap and these spare pieces of cardboard. Then give it the quick check. Does it close? Just about. Then you're going to want to just give it a quick shake. Little bit of movement. Can't prevent it all, but as long as it doesn't feel like there's lots of loose things rattling around, safe to say we can start taping. Lastly, just want to lash it all with tape. There we go, all taped up. I possibly go a bit overboard with the tape, but what's the harm? Better safe than sorry, right? So there we are, done and dusted, all packed up and ready for the airport. Now this isn't the only way that you can pack your bike up, but it's the way that I find the easiest. Please feel free to leave a comment if you have any suggestions or questions, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Next stop, Albania.